They taught you to obey, to wait for permission, to believe that patience, politeness, and compliance were virtues, yet they never taught you to rule. From your earliest days, they molded you to serve, to follow the invisible scripts of a society designed not to free you, but to contain you. Every lesson in patience was a chain, every demand for respect was a leash. While you struggled to meet expectations, the rich harvested your time, your energy, and your fear. Every hour you give to a company, every dollar you hand over, every desire you chase blindly is a brick in the fortress of someone else's power. You think you are working for yourself, but in truth, you are fueling their empire. The world has never belonged to the obedient. It belongs to those who write the rules, those who bend reality to their will, those who understand that power is first won in the mind and only later in money. Look around. The wealthy are not smarter, braver, or luckier. They simply chose to see the world differently. Where you were taught to wait, they acted. Where you were told to obey, they commanded. Where you sought permission, they seized opportunity. Poverty is not the absence of money. It is the inheritance of a servant's mindset. It is a belief that someone else will eventually grant you significance, that someone else will open the doors to your life, that your worth must be validated externally. The first step to power is to abandon that hope. Liberation begins the day you stop waiting. The rich never ask. They take. They dismantle illusions created to keep you tame. They lied about money, ambition, morality. They told you that loving wealth is wrong, that desiring influence is selfish, that strategy is manipulation. These lies were designed to preserve the hierarchy, to make humility appear virtuous and servitude noble. Obedience is a cage. Comfort is the invisible shackle. Every choice to prioritize safety over risk, ease over growth, comfort over ambition anchors you deeper in servitude. The rich, however, understand what the masses do not. Human emotion is the ultimate lever of control. Fear, envy, desire, they manipulate it all. While you chase symbols of success, they control the factories that produce those symbols, orchestrate perception, and sell validation as a product. Stop dreaming as a servant dreams, craving stability, praise, and begin thinking like a master. Ability, praise, and approval. Begin thinking like a master. Control systems. Leverage risk. Harness failure. Command respect. Fear is the servant's master. It is the weapon of the rich. Pabron the rich. Where the servant fears loss, the master sees opportunity. Where the servant seeks approval, the master observes and calculates. True power is invisible. It begins in silence, in endurance, in the capacity to act while the world reacts. The rich convert pain into focus, frustration into strategy, fear into clarity. They are predators in patience, moving in shadows, acting with precision, wielding chaos as a tool. Wealth is not in numbers. It is perception, invisibility, and timing. The servant waits for permission. The master creates opportunity before anyone else even recognizes the possibility. One obeys order. The other masters chaos. To rise, you must return to your wild state, not violent but free. Free to think, to fail, to rebuild, to sever dependence on the structures built to contain you. Build your own chessboard. Stop playing on theirs. True security is independence, the ability to act without fear, the ability to convert every threat into leverage. Fear is the currency of the wealthy, for they cultivate it in others, turning anxiety into compliance, dependence into profit. To escape the cage, you must stare fear down, harness it, let it fuel audacity. When you stop fearing loss, you become dangerous. The servant hopes, the master strategizes. Every day spent reacting instead of acting is a day surrendered. Every hour sold for false security is a brick in someone else's prison. Freedom is never gifted, it is seized. Real wealth is mastery over time, over emotions, over decisions. Money follows power, power follows vision, vision follows discipline. Stop being distracted by the visible. The rich operate in invisibility, their systems, strategies, and accumulation hidden, their preparation silent. While you chase money, they build the machinery that produces it, manipulate perception, control narratives, bend outcomes to their will. The servant waits for opportunity, the master engineers it. The servant fears chaos, the master thrives in it. Where the weak flinch at instability, the rich see advantage. They know fortune is never given, it is claimed in discomfort, in solitude, in nights spent planning when everyone else sleeps, in hours spent observing when the world consumes. Pain becomes fuel, loss becomes insight, fear becomes discipline. Every setback is a teacher, every betrayal a lesson, every defeat a doorway to mastery. The servant laments, the master learns. To dominate life, you must dominate yourself, your impulses, your ego, your fear, your desires. The day you surrender your servitude is the day you begin to rule. To rule is not to crush others, but to govern yourself so thoroughly that no one can manipulate you. Calm replaces panic, calculation replaces reaction, strategy replaces hope. Observe without emotion. Perceive what is hidden. Hear what is unsaid. That is the invisible architecture of power. Wealth is silent, invisible, patient. It is built in unseen choices, disciplined routines, in refusal to seek approval, in relentless focus. While the masses chase applause, the rich chase leverage. While others consume, they create. While others debate, they execute. Influence bends systems, commands attention, multiplies impact. You cannot afford to wait. You cannot afford comfort. You must steal your freedom from it. Every hour surrendered to distraction, every deferred decision, every indulgence without strategy is a brick in someone else's cage. Stop serving, start engineering, observe, calculate, act, build systems that work for you while you sleep. Let every failure teach, every loss sharpen, every fear train you. Let discipline become your currency, clarity your weapon, momentum your empire. Stop chasing the visible. Build the invisible. Shape perception. Command attention. Move quietly. Strike decisively. Fear nothing that can be endured. Trust nothing that cannot be tested. Desire nothing that does not expand your reach. The servant waits. The master creates. One seeks comfort. One builds control. One prays. One prepares. Which are you? Begin now, step into silence, observe the rules, learn them, break them. Build your own. Time is not given, it is seized. Attention is currency. Discipline is wealth. Power lives in the invisible. And the invisible belongs to those who see, who endure, who act, who refuse to kneel. They rise in obscurity. They strike when the crowd is distracted. They do not apologize for wanting more. Ambition is not sin. It is the only path to independence. Comfort is the cage. Obedience is the prison. Every moment you waste adhering to the rules of others is a moment you are feeding someone else's empire. You are not poor because you lack talent or intelligence. You are poor because you have been trained to serve. The rich understand this and act accordingly. They manipulate perception, control attention, and harvest fear. They leverage human emotion like a weapon. While you work for a fixed salary, they design systems that earn them money while they sleep. While you wait for validation, they create value before it is recognized. While you fear failure, they embrace it, using it as a source of knowledge and momentum. To join them, you must reject the servant within. The good student, the obedient worker, the follower of rules, these must die. The path of power is not printed in books. It is carved into the mind of those who refuse to kneel. Every act of discipline, every refusal of distraction, every calculation made in solitude compounds into a fortress of influence. You must endure the pain that others avoid. You must embrace discomfort. You must transform fear into leverage, loss into strategy, and solitude into empire. Do not seek to be liked. Seek to be respected. Do not seek applause. Seek power. Do not seek approval. Seek independence. Stop longing for permission. It will never come. The day you stop serving is the day you begin to rule. This is the foundation, the first principle, the invisible law of the masters. See clearly, act decisively, endure silently, and take control. Now, take the next step. Understand that the system does not reward effort, it rewards perception, influence, and timing. Those who appear to win are often invisible architects, moving silently, shaping outcomes before anyone notices. They know that attention is the ultimate currency, that desire can be manufactured, and that fear can be transformed into compliance. While the servant chases approval, the master engineers reality. While the weak lament setbacks, the strong convert adversity into insight. Every moment of frustration, every betrayal, every loss is a tool, a lesson, a stepping stone to dominance. You must cultivate the same vision, the same patience, the same ruthless clarity. Stop thinking small, stop following patterns designed to contain you. Observe behavior, predict reactions, manipulate outcomes without remorse. The world is not fair, and it never will be. The only fairness exists in the ability to exploit circumstance, bend reality, and seize advantage before others can react. The rich do not flinch at discomfort. They embrace it, seek it, transform it. They know that every crisis is an opportunity, every failure a teacher, every challenge a doorway to greater control. They plan in silence, execute in precision, harvest results before the masses even understand the game. And this is why patience and calculation are worth more than talent and effort. You must detach from the noise of approval, the illusions of comfort, the lies of morality designed to preserve hierarchy. Fear, desire, envy, they are levers. Master them in yourself and you will master them in others. Fail and you will remain a pawn, endure and you will become the player who moves the pieces. The servant reacts, the master orchestrates. The servant dreams of luck, the master engineers outcomes. The servant is trapped by fear, the master uses it. True wealth is not accumulation, it is autonomy. It is the freedom to act without asking, the power to move without hesitation, the ability to endure what others cannot. The rich understand that visibility is vulnerability, that noise is weakness, that patience compounds power. They wait, observe, calculate, then strike. They act when the moment is perfect, and in that precision their empire grows while others flounder. And you, standing at the edge of this understanding, must ask, will you remain a servant, consumed by distraction and false hope, or will you rise and claim the invisible throne? Begin to value your time above all. Protect it, fortify it. Every second given to distraction is a second surrendered. Every hour spent reacting is energy stolen. Every desire indulged without purpose is a chain. To build power, you must become a master of your own mind, your own attention, your own actions. The rich conserve their focus, they cultivate clarity, they sharpen themselves in silence while others chase entertainment, approval, and comfort. Motivation is fleeting, momentum is eternal. Build the routines, the systems, the discipline that compound into empires unseen until the moment they dominate. Let your mind become a fortress. Let your vision be a weapon. Let every decision, every habit, every act of endurance multiply influence. The world is a battlefield and your mind is the territory. Control it or be conquered. The rich are not born different. They are forged differently. They accept discomfort, train in solitude, endure criticism, and stretch their tolerance. They master themselves before they master circumstances. The servant is attached to possessions, the master is attached to skill, to leverage, to foresight. They understand that the only real possession is the capacity to act independently, to convert adversity into advantage, to see the game that others cannot. Your past is irrelevant. Your wealth begins in the decisions you make now, the discipline you cultivate, the risks you are willing to endure. Stop waiting for permission, stop seeking approval, stop trading attention for distraction, stop surrendering energy to comfort. Every day you spend enslaved by distraction, by fear, by obedience, is a day you fortify someone else's empire while your own dreams decay. Rise, fortify your mind, sharpen your focus, build systems, cultivate independence, transform fear into discipline, let loss teach. Let solitude sharpen, let discomfort forge you. The servant fears failure, the master seeks it, the servant hopes for opportunity. The master creates it, the servant is satisfied with stability, the master commands influence. Every habit, every choice, every act of endurance is a brick in your fortress. Influence bends the world. Discipline compounds power. Silence preserves momentum. Clarity magnifies results. Stop chasing the visible. Build the invisible. Move quietly. Strike decisively. Fear nothing that can be endured. Desire only what expands reach. Trust nothing that cannot be tested. Seek not approval, but autonomy. Yield not to distraction, indulgence, or comfort. These are the chains disguised as rewards, the sweet poison that keeps you a servant. Observe, act. Build systems that operate while you sleep, harness chaos, convert fear into leverage, endure solitude, accept discomfort, train relentlessly. Your past does not define your capacity, your tolerance for pressure does. Your endurance is your wealth. The rich have simply outlasted the weak, converting every hardship into insight, every setback into strategy, every loss into a platform for dominance. They understand that power begins with mastery of self, and once self is mastered, everything else follows. Influence, wealth, freedom, respect, all are byproducts. Stop waiting to be given permission. Stop waiting to be understood. Stop waiting to be safe. The world will not grant these things. They must be seized. Claim your hours. Guard your focus. Build your fortress. Convert pain into momentum. Convert fear into leverage. Convert solitude into strategy. Move silently, strike with precision, endure where others flinch and act where others wait. Stop serving. Start ruling. The day you refuse to kneel, to obey, to hope for permission, is the day you begin to govern your life, to command your circumstances, to bend the world to your will. This is the path of the master, the path of the rich, the path of those who refuse to be pawns. Step into it now. Claim it fully. Refuse to surrender another hour, another ounce of energy, another moment of focus to anyone else's system. Build the invisible empire that begins in your mind, flourishes in your discipline, and manifests in a life unconstrained by obedience, fear, or distraction. Power is not a gift, power is seized, and the first act of seizing it is simple: stop serving. The others are ruled by illusions, by comfort, by the false morality that keeps them compliant. You must refuse naivety and see the world as it truly is, without filter, without excuse, without sentimentality. Brutal lucidity is the doorway to real power. It shatters the comforts that keep you weak, but it also reveals the map that the obedient never see. When you confront reality as it is, you stop acting like a victim and begin to act like a strategist. The rich always think several moves ahead. The poor are trapped in the tyranny of the present, reacting to chaos instead of mastering it. Anticipation is the secret weapon, the invisible leverage that transforms risk into advantage, fear into strategy, and confusion into opportunity. They understand collective emotion is a battlefield, that panic spreads faster than reason, that desire can be shaped and fear can be commodified. While the masses scatter, they advance. While others flee, they consolidate. While everyone else panics, they buy, invest, and build silently. Real superiority is calm in the storm, clarity in chaos, precision in motion while the crowd flails. They do not seek to avoid the storm. They walk through it like kings, converting instability into fortune, crisis into leverage, and collapse into empire. You, too, must learn to embrace chaos, because it is in the turbulence of life that the weak are eliminated and the prepared thrive. The rich feed off disruption, collective panic, and societal collapse, knowing every disaster is an invisible sieve that separates the timid from the determined. Do not flinch from difficulty. Do not avoid failure. Do not worship comfort. Denabritum fractions. Step into the storm, endure it, understand it, and transform it into a weapon that others cannot see coming. The servant fears failure, but the master provokes it, seeking insight, seeking knowledge, seeking the hidden patterns that reveal opportunity invisible to the reactive. Failure is not a wall. It is a filter, a lens that reveals who is strong enough, cunning enough, and relentless enough to rise. Only the determined build empires. Only those who endure setbacks without surrendering claim the prize. The servant asks, "What if I lose everything?" The master asks, "What if I gain everything?" It is a mindset, simple yet seismic, that determines fate. The rich are never attached to their possessions, for the only true possession is skill, foresight, and mental framework. You could strip them of everything tangible, and they would rebuild because they understand the architecture of power. The poor cling to what they have, afraid of loss, shackled by attachment, and it is that fear that ensures their permanent captivity. Freedom requires risk, power requires audacity, wealth is born in the willingness to sacrifice temporary comfort for enduring control. Real wealth is the power to say no, to fear, to dependency, to mediocrity, because the one who cannot say no owns nothing even if he believes he has everything. The day you refuse to serve is the day you begin to rule, but to rule is not to crush others. It is to govern yourself with such force that no one can manipulate you again. You will no longer react to provocation, no longer tremble under judgment, no longer allow others' opinions to direct your energy. You will move with the calm of one who knows his worth, the serenity of one who understands that control is the ultimate freedom. That calm, that composure is the signature of the rich. They do not flail, they do not over-explain. They observe, calculate, and strike once with absolute precision, while the distracted masses exhaust themselves in motion without purpose. Everything is on the line, because power is not conquered through speed, but through accuracy, patience, and timing. Luck is a myth, fortune is engineered. They rise while others sleep, invest while others hesitate, read while others scroll, and above all, they think while others react. Money is never the source, it is a byproduct of invisible discipline. The discipline to observe without judgment, to wait while desire demands immediacy, to deny short-term pleasure in the service of long-term dominion. You too can cultivate this discipline, but it comes at the cost of solitude, ridicule, doubt, and misunderstanding. You will be mocked by those who cling to comfort. You will be criticized by those who worship obedience. You will be tested by those who cannot endure self-mastery. Yet the same voices that deride you will one day seek your insight, your methods, your system, because you will have crossed the invisible line that separates